Hello and namaskar viewers, I am Sanjeev Pandya welcoming you to this week's edition of the Business Talk with Ajay right here on ITV Gold. The show brings you all the latest business related news from around the world that you need to know, and the show is brought to you by SAI CPA Services, a professional accounting firm and a tax advisory firm as well, to help you out with any tax matter, whether it's personal taxes or your corporate taxes. They can help you out. They're trained and knowledgeable and experienced CPAs on hand will help you with any question that you may have, from IRS tax audit to bookkeeping services to setting up a new company or any accounting matter. Do give them a call at 908-380-6876, 908-380-6876. With that note, I'd like to welcome Mr. Ajay Kumar of SAI CPA Services to this week's edition. Sir, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sanjeevji. Thank you for the kind introduction.
You're very welcome. I know, people may think this is not the right time to contact the attorney or CPA, but this is actually a right time to have your taxes look into it, and basically income look into it. So how much money you made and how much tax you're going to be paying, and where you can invest money in order to save some taxes and have that money work and an investment and earn some interest. So this is the time that you should be really contacting your CPA.
Absolutely.
And SAI CPA Services is that firm. They can help you out. All right, Dow Jones industry. Dow Jones is really on a roller coaster ride. When I say roller coaster ride, this is the upward ride. It hasn't gone down yet. Last week we talked about Dow Jones crossing 37,000 points, and it continues as we are going into the taping of the show. Dow Jones right now is at 37,400 points.
Absolutely, and you will see this continuous increase as we hear more and more from the federal government about the rate decrease. As the rates start to go down, it affects everything. Your certificate of deposit, your fixed deposit rates will go down. Banks will give cheaper loan. Your mortgage rates will go down. So if you take a step back and think about it, a lot of people are preferring to deposit money in the bank because the banks are offering 5% to 6% to 8%. Nobody wants to go in the stock market, take the risk of putting the money in the equity in the stock market because the banks are offering handsome return. Yep. But once the rates start going down, banks will start offering lower rate, and you will see more and more people coming back to the stock market and pushing the stock market upward.
Yep, and Fed's decision not increasing the rates, not raising the rates, is really good news for investors, and investors are really responding well. If this trend continues right till the end of the year, till end of December 31st, this is going to be a great sign.
Absolutely. In winters, typically the stock market does better.
Yes.
In summers, the stock market typically goes down. So we are expecting in the winters, by the summer starts, we should have 40,000 points. Especially if the federal government decides to decrease the rate, depending on how much they reduce the rate, it should push another bounce to the stock market.
40,000 points. Oh my God, that will be a day to see. Anyway, so that is the update on the stock market. Now let's talk about gold. After a long time, we're bringing this gold story in our show because gold rates are rising. And what could be the reason for that?
Well, it's the same thing. Once the stock market starts going up, once we see the rates going down, people are not interested in putting the money in the bank because now the banks have started reducing the rate. They're not giving the sweet deal that they were giving once earlier. So what do we do with the money? You put the money in the stock market. I'm not sure about the stock market. I'm still hesitating about the stock market, not knowing where it will go tomorrow. Then gold becomes the safe bet. People who do not want to leave the money in the certificate of deposit, in the fixed deposit, and are not sure about the stock market, they prefer to go back to the generation old asset gold. And that's why the gold rates are going up. We have seen gold rates are over $2,000 per ounce now. So we still expect the golds to continue increasing, but there comes a point when the stock market will see higher jump than the gold.
Yep. So that is a good news, and obviously, gold investment, they say it's the safe investment.
Absolutely.
And
stable.
It's stable, yes, exactly. No matter how, gold prices go up, it always gives you good return whenever you want to sell it. All right, now let's talk about the world's richest man. That's Elon Musk, who is worth about $250 billion. And of course, his major income comes from Tesla, Twitter, and SpaceX. SpaceX is one of the programs that he's very passionate about. And then now the news is that Elon Musk has confirmed that SpaceX has raised funds for about $180 billion.
No, $180 billion is the net worth of SpaceX. In the recent valuation, Elon Musk raised $2.5 billion. And you have to remember, what is SpaceX? The plan, at least once, was to take the man on the moon or take the man on the Mars. The same concept. You take the man on the moon, we'll take the man on the Mars or other planets. So that's what they're working on. NASA has given them a deal for $2.9 billion. NASA hired SpaceX with a contract of $2.9 billion. That adds a lot of credibility to the company. A new investment that recently happened in SpaceX, in that company, Elon Musk has raised $2.5 billion at a valuation of $180 billion for SpaceX.
Yep,
amazing.
This is interesting news. And SpaceX has been launching and landing its reusable Falcon 9 rockets at a record pace, delivering payloads for NASA and working with NASA really, really good. So now SpaceX is worth $180 billion. Elon Musk is worth $257 billion. So you can imagine that his net worth is really, really increasing. Now talk about SpaceX. I remember Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, he also has a similar program called Blue Origin.
Yep.
But he's not, I shouldn't say he's not active, but not as much as Elon Musk working with NASA.
You're right. If I know the history, if you take a step back, the way it will work out, once Elon Musk has figured out the technology, once they have done all this research, then you will see a lot of people, a lot of billionaires jumping on the bandwagon to say, because now they know they have proven concept. Now they know it can be done.
Right.
And a lot of people are sitting tight, taking a step back, let him spend the money, let him figure it out, and then we jump on it.
Correct. All right, next story has to do with very interesting. If you're in the service industry and if you promise your customers that you're going to be taking care of them and all the promises that you made to your customer, and if you violate that, guess what? You're going to be paying really, really huge fine. And here we're talking about Department of Transportation, known as DOT, has fined Southwest Airline $180 million because of last year's when there was a storm and the flights were canceled and they did not inform their customers and they did not follow up their consumer policies.
There were more than one thing. So if you remember, 17,000 flights were cancelled due to the snowstorm. More than 2 million people got stranded. So the total fine, even though it's very high, $140 million. But if you look at it relatively, it's only $70 per stranded passenger. It's not really that big of an amount. And it was not done intentionally. That's why, comparatively speaking, the fine is not that much. Their scheduling system went down. Did it go down because of a snowstorm or was it something else? That's not clear yet. But the fact that the scheduling system was down, nobody could reschedule the flight, nobody could reach to the customer support. So the DOT has fined Southwest $140 million that they have to pay in terms of lowering the price for the future customer and giving the extra miles to the customers who were stranded.
Interesting. And out of that 140 million fine, 35 million is a cash payment, right?
Right.
A fund to compensate future passengers.
Absolutely.
Okay, and credit for frequent flyer miles given to affected customers. So once again, once you violate consumer violations, consumer policies violations, this is the fine you're going to pay. Now, what is consumer violations? It is, the cases can involve fraud, scams, identity theft, false advertising, privacy violations, anti-competitive behavior, and more. This is really interesting. Southwest Airlines, and they're going to have to pay this $140 million. All right, let's talk about General Motors. They are laying off about 1,300 workers in their Michigan plant called Orion plant, because this is the plant which builds a Chevrolet Bolt, the EV car, which is going to be discontinued, and about 1,300 workers, some of them at the plant and some in the office, going to be losing their jobs.
Absolutely. It's a major decision. Not continue with the car. Now what do you do with the workers? Well, they could have continued with a different model in the same facility, but there are a lot of union rules. I mean, a couple of weeks ago we were talking about UAW, the union rules that are controlling this whole situation. So it's easier for the corporations, the large corporations, to let go these people and rehire the right staff as opposed to retrain the staff for something new, especially when the union get involved.
Correct. Now I like to add one thing, AJ. You're gonna have a kick once you hear this. All right. GM is laying off 1,300 employees, right, at their plant. Now, guess what? Department of Transportation also fined General Motors. The layoffs come a day after the Department of Transportation fined GM $140 million for violating consumer protection laws during its holiday meltdown in 2022. You know, why are these companies taking so much risk violating,
Well, I don't think it's intentional. It's one of those things that when you have a large corporation, things will fall down, and somebody has to take the responsibility for making sure that right actions are taken, and not everybody is as responsible. So at the end of the day, the large corporation ends up bearing the blunt of a lot of these actions that are taken by the senior management.
All right, quickly before we go into the break, I just want to touch base on this story. This story has to do about ITV. ITV website, which is an American e-commerce company focused on handmade or vintage items and craft supplies. One of the nicest websites. I really, really love it. They're going to be laying off 11% of its staff because the stock prices are falling.
Absolutely. So it's a good thing. It's very, very common towards the year end for a lot of these companies to let go the staff only to rehire it back when the profits are not there. A lot of CEOs are hired to maintain certain profit. In this case, the stock prices are going down as well, but a lot of time just to maintain the stock prices, a lot of CEOs will let go the staff towards the fourth quarter just to show a new reorganization plan, and then a lot of these people are hired back in the first quarter.
There you go. All right, so that's the news and the first half of the Business Talk with AJ show. Once we return, we're going to have more business stories for you. Please stay with us. Welcome back to the second half of the Business Talk with AJ right here on ITV Gold. The show is brought to you by SAI CPA Services, a full-fledged accounting firm located in the state of New Jersey with multiple locations. But no matter where you are in the USA, they can help you out. And one more thing that I like to mention, SAI CPA Services, they are very knowledgeable, very trained in guiding you and suggesting you in the foreign bank account reporting known as fbar. Many of you don't know how fbar works and how you should be reporting if you have a property in India or any other country outside USA, and if there is an investment, and if you maintain certain amount of bank balance, it should be reported in your US tax return. That is a very, very important thing, and SAI CPA Services is the firm can guide you in the right direction. To reach them, 908-380-6876 or visit their website saicpaservices.com, and take my word, make an appointment as soon as possible. As we continue second half of the show, and in this second half of the show, there are going to be very, very interesting stories. First, we're going to start with Target, how thieves are targeting the store called Target, and the Target has been saying that because of theft, they have closed down 9 stores. That's what the announcement they made. But CNBC, a major TV channel, when they did their own reporting and research, they found there are more stores also affected by theft, but Target has not closed them. So the question is, why Target are saying that those 9 stores are mainly affected and they're closing 9 stores only, not the other ones?
Absolutely. So the story is more about why certain stores are closed. The story is less about the 9 stores now. We know Target closed 9 stores earlier, and there was a story. There was less revenue, there was a lot of theft, there was a lot of breaking. But now, based on the CNBC research, a new theory is emerging that Target is being selective in certain areas. Target has a bigger plan, and these 9 stores closure is just part of the initial plan. There may be more stores coming. If these 9 stores Target had to close, based on the same theory, Target will be closing a lot of
Yes,
stores.
absolutely.
So we just have to see how the story unfolds, and we have to know a lot of these retailers are really suffering when it comes to the theft, when it comes to lower sales. A lot of people are moving to Amazon and other online engines now.
Exactly. See, I mean, I like to question CNB's reporting that, listen, these 9 stores must be in the areas where theft is very heavy.
Absolutely.
And it's uncontrollable by Target's security guards, security personnel, whatnot. The other stores, there might be a theft also, but Target officials or Target management perhaps hopes that they
can
can
turn it around.
tackle the problem,
Absolutely,
they can solve the
absolutely.
problem. But anyway, this is a very alarming news, because many retail stores across USA, they've been talking that theft is really getting out of hands. Whether it's a Target, whether it's a Home Depot, whether it's a Macy's, whatnot.
Absolutely. So running a retail store, a brick or mortar store, is getting difficult to begin with. We are all moving towards this digital world, especially after COVID. A lot of people don't want to go out and shop. And then on top of it, if you have the theft or if you have this type of situation, it becomes very difficult for a lot of these stores to survive.
Absolutely. Now, since we are on the theft, guess what? 3 interesting stories are coming your way related to theft, and you will really find them interesting, because 2 of those 3 stories, has to do with Indians. Well, actually, one story has to do with India. The other one is not a theft, but the other one is a bankruptcy thing. So let me just make that thing very clear. Let's start with the theft story. Facebook employee admits stealing $4 million.
So is a senior employee who was able to create fake invoices, fake bills, and those payments were created through a series of accounts that he was able to hide. And think about it, a company like Facebook, a billion-dollar company, having problem where the employees are stealing money. A lot of small businesses faces the same problem. A lot of businesses don't even find out. After so many years, Facebook found out that this employee stole $4 million. A lot of this money is recaptured. But is this the end of the story? Is this the only employee? Are there other employees in the same company or in other companies who are doing it? And that's where we have our other stories adding up, that it's not a unique story. It's not just limited to Facebook. There are a lot of greedy people who are...
The Facebook employee here, we're talking about Joseph Sullivan, who was a security engineer at Facebook. From 2016 to 2011 to 2016, 5 years, he stole $4 million, finally got caught up, and as you say, most of the money have been recovered. Now he faces up to 20 years in prison and a fine up to $250,000.
But we found it after 8 years.
Yes, exactly.
After 2016, it took them 8 years to uncover that the theft had happened.
Because you know what, when it's a billion-dollar company, $4 million can be just hidden, a little drop in a bucket.
No, you're right. But is this the only employee then?
Exactly. All right, so that's a theft story. Now, wait till you hear this theft story. This is really, amazing and out of the world story. Has to do with Jacksonville Jaguars, which is one of the NFL teams. They're based in Jacksonville, Florida. Now, in this organization, there is a department called VCC, which is Virtual Credit Card. Ajay will give more information about that. And the head of that department, named Amit Patel, 31 years old and a resident of Florida, of course, he stole $22 million over the years. And with that $22 million, he supported his luxury lifestyle. He bought Patek Philippe watch for $95,000. He bought Tesla. He bought, expensive houses. He was also taking trips in a charter plane and having lavish parties with friends. On top of that, he was addicted to gambling, and he was gambling, and he lost a lot of money in the gambling. And that is the really, really shocking story coming out. That guy named Amit Patel, 31 years old, and committed $22 million fraud, and he admitted in the court 2 of his 4 counts. His sentencing date is not announced yet, but he could face up to 30 years in prison.
to 30 years in prison or $500,000 of bond. So that's the story. Somebody who was the head of this virtual credit card department. So he must be making enough money to support the family style. But then people get greedy. $22 million is a lot of money to buy the watches, to buy the private planes, to do whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, life comes a full circle. Say whatever you do, life will catch up to you. And now this person's life is over. 30 years, he's 31 years old. By the time he comes back, he will be just
so AJ,
not able to work.
Tell us exactly how VCC works. And does any of your clients have this VCC system in their company?
Absolutely, it's very, very common. Even Google Pay, Amazon, they all have this virtual credit card. So instead of using a physical credit card, you can generate a virtual credit card, a one-time use credit card that's linked to your actual credit card, so you don't have to disclose your actual credit card to a third party. So nobody can misuse it. So imagine a situation when you are creating a credit card, a virtual credit card, just for one-time use, that is linked to your physical credit card.
Oh, wow. And he duplicated those
Absolutely.
charges, and he had official charges going into Jacksonville Jaguars books, and the duplicated charges he had going into his own company and accounts and everything. So Amit Patel, when he's sentenced, we'll let you know. Next story has to do with also Indian American here in this area in Pennsylvania, and that has to do with Boston market. Now this gentleman named Jay Pandya, or Jignesh Jay Pandya, bought Boston market just recently, a couple of years ago, and now Boston market, they have filed bankruptcy. Jay Pandya himself was a very successful businessman, owned a lot of Taco Bells and Dunkin' Donuts and other businesses, mainly in Pennsylvania. He was also promoting cricket in the USA, and he was planning to bring cricket in the USA. So he had all these major plans, but somewhere Boston market, when he bought it, apparently plans didn't work out, and he ended up filing for bankruptcy. And Jay Pandya, in a court document, cited 10 to 50 million in liabilities, and the same range for assets in his personal bankruptcy filing on December 8 in state of Pennsylvania.
So it seems like more of a reorganization for a lot of rich people who owns a lot of businesses. It's not uncommon to reorganize the debt when they have large debt on one company. They try to go file the bankruptcy, but a lot of details are yet to be seen. But a lot of people talks about Trump for the same reason, that he has filed that bankruptcy for that many businesses, that many times, and he's still a billionaire. So I'm not suspecting that for Mr. Jignesh Pandya, the net worth will still be there. He will still own a lot of
This
money.
bankruptcy is okay, it's for protection.
Absolutely.
But
absolutely.
coming from Indian American, successful entrepreneur, business person, community-oriented person,
It's just another business decision.
Correct.
Probably.
It's a major setback. It's a major setback, obviously, for people who know him and know community also. We take
Absolutely.
it. And a person like Amit Patel committed fraud. That's a shocking. That
Absolutely.
when you have this respectable position, and when you are whole and soul of certain department, how can you walk away? How can you take $22 million for what?
And a lot of this money was spent on this
Yes,
online
on
gambling websites
Unbelievable.
like DraftKings and whatnot they have.
Yep. All right. Okay, now quickly in the end, let's talk about, we don't have any major story from India, but let's talk about sports. India just wrapped up ODI series in South Africa, and India ended up winning the third and the final game of the series. Sanju Samson scored a century, and of course he's perhaps the only Indian wicketkeeper to score a century in South Africa.
Absolutely. So now India has won this ODI series 2-1. We are waiting for the test series to start next week and looking forward to an exciting game. The best thing is now the ODI players and the T20 player and test series players are not exactly same. If you remember a few years ago, there used to be 11, 12 players that will play every single game. Now India has a lot of talents. These T20 tournaments have given a lot of bandwidth, a lot of talents to the Indian cricket team. Now they can afford to have a separate T20 team, separate ODI team. Not many players are overlapping.
Absolutely. All right, so all the best for Team India in the Test series. After leveling T20 series and after winning ODI series, let's hope that Indian cricketers manages to win Test series in South Africa. That's a tough task, but all the best. All right, AJ, before we end our show for today, I just want to bring a couple of things. This is the call, Did You Know This Thing, right? I got interesting stuff for you. Listen, in 1998, Yahoo refuses to buy Google for $1 million.
Wow.
Okay, in 1998, AJ. Then in 2002, Yahoo realizes it's a mistake and tries to buy Google for $3 billion.
$3 billion?
$3 billion in
Holy
2002. Google says, give us $5 billion and you can have Google. Yahoo says, no, our offer is $3 billion. Okay, 2008, Yahoo refuses to be sold to Microsoft for $40 billion. Microsoft offered $40 billion to Yahoo. In 2008, Yahoo says no. And guess what? In 2016, Yahoo sold to Verizon for $4.6 billion.
It's amazing.
Talk about executives and management.
There used to be a company called Netscape.
Yeah.
And that was the only game when it came to browsers.
Yes.
Internet Explorer, Microsoft came much later. Nobody knew Google.
Anyway.
Netscape bought AOL bought. So it's just the timing of it.
All right. Okay. So that is, I just want to bring it for your friend. Quickly, and I'd like to request our staff to make sure that you cover this story. Please do whatever needs to be done. In the end, quickly, I want to mention this very important thing. Viewers, it's been great to have you watch our show, The Business Talk with AJ. With your support, with your feedback, we always enjoy bringing you this business talk every week on ITV Gold. And now the good news is that we're going to be starting season 3 of the Tax Talk with AJ. That will be starting from the first week of January. So we're going to take a little break between this episode and the first Tax Talk episode in the January. But we're excited to bring you all the latest that you need to know when it comes to taxes. Last 2 seasons, you've been really watching and following it up. So now get ready for season 3 with the Tax Talk, and Mr. AJ Kumar of SAI CPA Services will continue to bring all the updates that you need to know for the 2023 taxes.
Absolutely. A lot of new updates, a lot of new details, what you need to know, when you need to know, same time, same day. We will be talking about taxes every week.
All right, with that note, we wish you happy holidays and the best of the best year 2024. Do stay with us starting from January for the Tax Talk with AJ right here on your favorite TV channel, that's ITV Gold. AJ, thank you so very much for your support and look forward to share your knowledge and expertise when it comes to taxes next year.
It'll be my pleasure. I look forward to it.
All right, thank you. With that note, I'm Sanjeev Pandya wishing you all happy holidays. Do take care of yourself. So long.